Hey, everybody, what's going on? Your man, Eric Wilson. And as I said, Alex and I are back along with the founder of Zenny 62 Media, Zenny Abraham. Gentlemen, again, good evening to you both. Zenny, we wanted to talk to you because you being the Oakland Raider aficionado that you are, definitely want to talk to you about the fact that now the Pro Bowl has moved from Orlando, where it has been for the past several years, now moving out to this brand new stadium. Can you speak to Alex and I about what that means, not only for the Raiders, but for Vegas and the economy that we're trying to, I guess, get back, if you will?
Well, it means that, first of all, it's an answer to the simple fact that Las Vegas is in a great deal of trouble. Uh, the pandemic really has hit it hard. There's Clark County alone is looking at a $1 billion deficit. One of the linchpin events that Las Vegas had really pinned its hopes on for its economic present and future was the NFL draft, which was canceled.
Right.
And so, even though the draft is to return to Vegas in 2021, uh, still more needs to be done because the federal government, and by that I mean the Trump administration, is not stepping up to the plate and adding subsidies to make the hospitality industry whole, even though he said he would do so. And we certainly have the means and the capability to do so. So you have a lot of people suffering there. And they're going to be more suffering until we get this underway, because even though Las Vegas has opened up and it has a great hype machine that makes you think more is really going on than is, the fact of the matter is that it's not enough. And people are going to get sick, hospitals are going to get overflowed, and we could close it down again, which could hurt and put us back to where we were before again. So in all that, you have the Pro Bowl coming to Allegiant Stadium, which I think is quite an exciting venue. Forget for the moment how it got there, but if you're a fan of professional football, you're going to love that stadium. And having an event where fans of different teams in the NFL have an excuse to come to Las Vegas, I think is a brilliant idea. It's something that was talked about even before, just by fans saying, hey, look, if the Raiders stay in Oakland, why not Las Vegas as the site for a permanent Pro Bowl, right? Well, here's the first stab at that, if you will. Mm-hmm. Let's see how it goes. It'll be quite interesting.
Yeah. Alex, let me ask you about this, because, you and I are always talking about the makeup, if you will, of the NFL, always having a plan in place, and the NFL, the billion-dollar industry that it is. We were talking earlier about the NBA and having all the players in this bubble and containing it. Do you think that the NFL is going to do something similar to what the NBA is doing with regard to keeping the players, for lack of a better word, quarantined, so that they can have fun still, be with their families, and have the Pro Bowl essentially?
No, I don't believe they'll be able to. The NFL is on a rigorous schedule because this is going to be the last year that they have 16 games. After that, it's going to be 17. Plus, we're thinking about the expansion of London, and you got to think cross states and country travel. Seattle is notorious for traveling across the country. They usually are in the top 5 when it comes to log miles. So if you're going to have Seattle play East Coast teams and then come back on the West Coast, only to play opponents on the West Coast and keep them quarantined, so that means you're not speaking to anybody at the hotel. You're not going out to eat or any functions. You're getting tested 3 times a week before you even play the game. Then you got to fly back and stay quarantined again because you don't know if you got your family members or someone else that you care about sick, about who you came in contact with or who you hit. NFL can't make those strides. They can't take those chances. I believe they're going to have to increase the roster so that way if someone gets sick for a week or 2, they go on IR and they keep this rolling along. I think the best plan for the NFL is strength in numbers. Make sure everybody gets tested. Make sure that if there is a vaccine, because I heard that there is a vaccine for the coronavirus now, They get primary access because they're entertaining America. That way there's no chaos and anarchy. And you just let them live their lives. You can't let them be in a bubble for a 21-week schedule. Preseason, regular season, playoffs, and people start dropping like flies, no pun intended. No, you got to let the chips fall and hope and pray that the NFL gets lucky in September.
Fair enough. Talking with Alex Fleming of Florida Sun Review and Buck Report contributor, and of course, Zenny Abraham of Zenny 62 Media. Gentlemen, I'm excited that we are going to have a season, and I'm very happy that the NFL has put something in place so that at least things that are happening currently, because as we've seen in Texas, both Cowboys and Houston Texans players have tested positive for coronavirus. However, they have been caught early enough to where you are quarantined for self-quarantine for 14 days. And then there is a 2 to 3 week period of you just making sure that you are physically able to be amongst those members of your team. Let me ask both of you gentlemen. Let's say September happens. And let's say we get through the first 2 or 3 weeks, and I do not want this to happen. So please understand, I am not manifesting this in any way, shape, form, or I'm just asking a simple question here. If a player does somehow contract it, what do we do at that point? Because we've seen in the NBA, once 1 or 2 players contracted it, the whole entire season shut down. Zenny, you said it yourself. Las Vegas is suffering. They are in the red, if you will, $1 billion, and they're trying to recoup some of that money. Are we going to have a full season of the NFL?
No,
I'm genuinely concerned.
That's just Clark County alone. Las Vegas is a subset of that city. That's Clark County, Nevada, and the state of Nevada is suffering even more. And then you have, for example, the casino industry as a whole has taken in Nevada a $633 million hit. You have 60,000 people who are furloughed. So there's this consistent idea that we're going to go from basically 0 to 100 like that. And look, I don't know if anybody has seen the very exciting video, the people at the Cosmopolitan, mostly not masks, a lot of hard-bodied women. Well, anyway, the whole point is, I haven't been out in a while, but the whole point is, and I'm not married, so I can say those things and get.
There you go.
I can say those things and get away with it. But my point is, it looks really exciting, but the simple fact of the matter is that until we have a vaccine for the virus that's publicly available, it is dangerous. Now, put that and think about an NFL team and locker rooms, practices, offensive line where you do certain blocks that are basically holding, in other words, touching the other player. That's an easy way to contract the coronavirus. And then on top of that, there are people breathing at you, spitting, saying all kinds of things, getting mad. Can you imagine in this environment somebody who decides that they're going to play like Bill Romanowski played against Jerry Rice, if you remember that one? Okay. So all these things that we now think are laughable, basically you could say Bill Romanowski is a weapon, or could be considered a weapon today, right?
Yes.
So, okay. So all of that has to be thought of from the perspective of the propagation of a disease. And if you consider how this disease has propagated and it's in the air and sneezing and everything else, you are, I argue, placing an additional medical cost on the NFL that it is not calculated yet, or because of that isn't ready for. What are you going to do with those players that have that virus? And how are you going to make sure that other players aren't sick? And if you are, what then? Yeah, Alex said strength in numbers, but what I have a feeling is that the virus is going to get those numbers too. And you keep adding them, and it's going to become sort of like comical, right? Oh, we added 1 more. Oh, we got sick. Oh, we added 5 more. Oh, 2 got sick. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh. So I'm not optimistic, and I want to be wrong. I mean, I want to go to Las Vegas and have fun again and everything that way. But I have to tell you, folks, I'm scared because we have an administration that doesn't know what they're doing. We got a public that doesn't ask the administration to do anything. And it's between one and the other that I keep thinking we're just sort of sitting back and just asking for it. And I don't understand what's going on up here, you know?
I got you.
I don't understand for the life of me how Vegas is in a deficit. Now, I can understand that they're losing money. I get that. You go there to gamble, you go there, for other reasons, but that point I can understand. But this is the gambling capital of the world. I mean, Las Vegas makes more money than Atlantic City hand over fist. So I'm shocked that in 3 months' time, Vegas is in a deficit. What?
Las Vegas is
How does that happen?
Las Vegas is not the gaming capital of the world. Macau is. And one thing you have to understand about gambling is that you have to have a flow of people to actually do the gambling. Las Vegas chased away, starting approximately 6 years and 3 months ago, a process of chasing away its well-moneyed, middle to upper age income, upper age in age Americans who were upper and middle aged, but middle income, because they were basically deciding they couldn't make money on slots. They were making money on the tables. And so now if you went to places like Bally's or Harrah's, there are sea of slot machines, old style, that are without people, okay? And then when you ask the people why, the first complaint they made had nothing to do with the horrible events of 1 October. No, that was 1 October 2018. 2 words: resort fees. They resort feed the heck out of everybody and basically threw these things around their necks like a choke chain and said, you have to pay these. And they kept ramping them up and ramping them up and ramping them up. 2 things happened. Not only do they have a dramatic decline in the number of people that come from middle America to play there, 3 things there was a third. The other thing that happened was that casinos were sprouting up around the United States to the point where now today, you can go to gamble within 1 hour of any major city in the United States of America. That hurts Las Vegas, and the internet gambling on top of that with Sheldon Adelson, so rightly feared, is now up on us. He tried for years to stop it, and now it's up on us. The reason why Las Vegas and Nevada and Mr. Adelson hired an army of lobbyists and basically did a lot of shenanigans to get the Raiders from Oakland to Las Vegas was because they knew that if they didn't have anything big like what's coming, and it's still not going to be enough, they're headed on a dramatic decline because they had nothing to replace gambling. Gambling, if you take a look at the attendees for Las Vegas Sands in particular and MGM, they mention, or if you listen to their annual reports and their calls, they talk about what? They talk about Vegas? No, they're talking about Macau. They're talking about, or we're talking about, their plans for Japan. That's toast now because of the coronavirus, all right? Las Vegas is a has-been when it has to do with gambling. Sports was its savior, but guess what? I'm going to be talking with California Senator Bill Dobb at 10:30 our time on the East about, hey, getting legislation for California for gambling on the ballot so that you can vote for it in November. They expect, if that happens, $700 million economic impact annually. Who does that hurt? Vegas. Vegas is on a decline, all right? It's on a decline. It's always been a show money place. But when you stop the activity of people coming there, okay, you stop its economy. It is not a tech economy. The Bay Area is 17 times more rich than Las Vegas, okay? 17. Apple is one of a few trillion-dollar companies in the world. It's located in Cupertino. That's in the Bay Area. You want to add to that? Google's the same place. Where is it located? Mountain View. Where is that? The Bay Area.
Bay Area. Yep.
Okay. So get a clue, folks who think that, all the money is in Vegas and the Raiders were smart to go there. No, they were stupid to go there because they didn't know how to deal with tech people because they were intimidated by them. And that's a fact. Okay. So they ran and now they're paying for it.
Well, we can only hope that the Las Vegas Raiders, along with the Vegas Golden Knights and the WNBA, can provide some sort of, kind of at least get Vegas back to being not necessarily in the black, but at least try to recoup what they have lost from this whole gambling. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for this. I really appreciate it. Go ahead, Zenny.
I want to emphasize to those who are watching, I'm not wishing for Vegas to fall.
Right.
I've covered CES for the last 10 years straight. there are a lot of people I know there, particularly in the hospitality industry, who I know and love, and I'm rooting for and encouraging their rebound. But look, in every rebound, you got to tell the truth about what's going on. There it is.
You're absolutely right.
So
Zen,
you're
go
telling
ahead,
me
Alex.
that Vegas, that the Raiders left Oakland, which was a gold mine, to go to Vegas to take a chance.
Yep.
No one saw this coronavirus coming. I give you that. But if things don't get better, the Raiders are going to be on the move again.
I don't know if they'll be on the move, because basically, if they try to move out of that deal, look, you ever see Goodfellas? You get the idea? Okay.
Yeah.
You ever see The Godfather? Remember Mo Green? You get the idea? Okay. I don't think that'll happen. What'll happen is either the Fertitta brothers at one point, I thought we were going to buy the Raiders, or Sheldon Adelson's family will buy them from Mark Davis, and Mark has a 14-room home that's under construction, and he'll be just happy. Okay. So that's what I think will happen. The Raiders will be sold to one of them.
Gotcha. All right. Again, Zenny Abraham, Zenny62 Media. Make sure you check him out. Oakland News Community. And again, Alex Fleming, Florida Sun Review, Fantasy and Flavors Buck Report contributor, and your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena. Gentlemen, I appreciate the conversation. Let's keep this conversation going. And as we will always say, we want to make sure that the bigger and, in our eyes, the more prevalent conversation of racial inequality and systemic oppression amongst Black people needs to continually be talked about, not just when it's trendy and not just when it's convenient, but every day until there is a definite, impactful, and sustainable change. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Have a great night. Thank you, everybody.